Alright everyone, hello, we are here for another One Try League match. This time we've got Matthias versus Dan, number 1 versus number 2, and they've decided to play the match on NTSC this time. Just mix it up a bit. Should be pretty interesting. Gonna be fast paced this time. And these guys are just getting warmed up here, and we will get started very shortly here. If you have not seen this One Try League yet, basically these guys are going to go back and forth picking tracks, almost entirely non-shortcut, so you won't be seeing them, jumping over walls on Wario Stadium or anything, unless they use their one shortcut pick that they are allowed. Yeah. I believe Matthias will have first pick here, though. These guys want to win 4 races to win a set, and then after that, you need 3 sets to win the whole match. And Matthias so far is undefeated in this league. I believe this is his final matchup before the playoffs start. Hopefully these guys are ready to pick here. Alright, so Matthias has picked Toad's Turnpike for the first track here. We will count him down. So both these guys jumping into a quick slide right at the start. And this one is very much about just doing a ton of mini turbos around these turns really quick, keeping the tight line right next to the fence. These guys are on NTSC, so it's not really the console that they're normally playing a lot of time trials on. We're a little bit more likely to see some mistakes. But some very good drivers here, so should be a good race here. What's a little bit different about this track than others is the shroom spots. So you can usually a track will have like a typical place where you want to use your mushroom. That's kind of the best spot in a lap. But this track, there's really no different spots. It's all flat turns. People will use their mushroom right there because you can use it to go kind of inside line on the bus, but other than that, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference where you use your mushroom. So these guys might use their mushrooms in different spots, but we'll see. Still very close. Matthias just slightly ahead, but he goes ahead and uses his next mushroom, but he grinds against the wall and loses quite a bit of speed and forces him to use his third mushroom. He's definitely not out of it with that, but Dan going ahead and firing his other mushroom, and Dan definitely has a lead here. And he has the extra mushroom, so... Or Matthias, rather. I'm looking... I've been saying Dan, but Matthias is the one with the lead. I'm probably confusing them very much because they're both listening. Yeah, Matthias is much much ahead here with the extra shroom. Dan is the one who grinded against the wall and lost speed. Dan and actually catching up with a crazy lap 3 here. This is really close. Dan wins by a frame. The crazy comeback at the end. Dan actually really had some ground to make up there, and quite the comeback. Hopefully I didn't throw them off too much by getting their screens flipped first 2 laps. So yeah, very close start. You guys are ready for Mario Raceway here. This was Dan's pick. You know, these guys are really good, so typically you're not going to see any major mistakes here, but you might see a little hiccup on the mushroom cut coming up right here. They both make it through pretty clean. That's really the big danger on this track, but both of these guys are crazy good at this race. (54 to 42), so Dan with a little bit of a lead here. MR hitting some grass. Both making it through the mushroom cut. And with a nice little wall clip there. Rotates him around the wall. I think he missed the mini turbo going into the grass. But Dan's still gaining another 0.3 on that lap. So Dan's got almost a half-second lead here. They both make it through, but it's going to be pretty tough for Matthias to catch up at this point. Looks like Dan will take this one. A good pick from him. 114.04 to a 113.62. So Dan goes up 2-0. And Matthias's pick. Now, this being NTSC, I don't know that it's as easy to say like who necessarily has like a big advantage on a track, especially considering these guys haven't been playing like a ton of NTSC. Dan's gonna go with Banshee Boardwalk here though, or Matthias is. I keep flipping their names here for whatever reason. So Matthias feeling it on Banshee. We'll see. Note Dan has been playing a lot of Kupachura Beach over the last day on NTSC, picking up new NTSC world records there. See if they've been warming up on Banshee any here. Both thrown in the extra mini turbo on NTSC there. Not a super critical one, but why not? So Matthias already falling behind just a little bit there. A little hiccup on the drop, room was, so. Both these guys doing all the extra mini turbos. Dan still with a pretty nice lead here. Maybe quarter of a second or so at this point. About halfway through the next lap. Good mushroom around that turn. That one can be tough. Sometimes you can get like a bad bounce, and it's can be hard to deal with. And you gotta kind of anticipate the angle. You sometimes can stick to the ground. I think Dan did that lap 1. Matthias gaining 0.2 there. Gotten really close now. And delaying the shroom a little bit, kind of a bad line. And that's making them pretty much tied here, exiting the bat house. This is gonna be really close. Who's got it? Matthias takes it by 0.04. The revenge for the Toad's Turnpike race, I guess. Nice closer. After the bad lap 1, he really made a good comeback there. And Dan is gonna go with Cooper Beach here. Makes sense if he's been playing it a lot. He's up this first set. Probably want to try to get one of his better ones maybe in. Okay. So the thing about this one is both these guys are going to be going through that tunnel, and it can be easy to miss when you're throwing in the mini turbo that these guys will do on the ramp. Both making it clean though. Very nice. Of course, even the best players, you never know what can happen there. But for the most part, these guys are going to be making it through there. A really close race after lap 1. Matthias just a little bit ahead though. Both make it through. Matthias kind of going out to the left, making it a little bit easier for him to sort of do that mini turbo into the tunnel. Dan definitely gaining some ground here, and he's pulled ahead a little bit. A really nice start to lap 3 here. Dan makes it through. Dan, just really aggressive ending to this race is gonna get him the win, it looks like. Very nice in the crazy finish here. Dan takes it by 0.4. Really nice lap 2 and 3. This set point here, but it is Matthias' pit. And we're gonna go to Rainbow Road. Fortunately, non-shortcut. We're in for a long one here. 5-minute race. Both these guys trying to stick to the ground here, and both of them equally getting air in pretty much the exact same way. But not the worst starts. Both these guys have played enough that you would assume they know where the chomps are going to be, so I wouldn't expect to see any chomp hits. Never know. Dan kind of hitting the wall a little bit there. Gets him a little bit behind now. It's actually pretty close still. Dan's actually back ahead. Just a little bit. Dan messed up the drift going into the shroom. Don't lose too much. NTS bonks the wall. They're kind of just trading back and forth here. Pretty much tied still. And misses the mini turbo there. He is a little bit ahead now. He is with a 48, Dan with an 88, so 0.4 behind, but Dan gets the good start to the lap, sticking to that hill very well. Catches him up quite a bit, but still a little bit behind. Matias still holding that lead, maybe just a quarter of a second or so. And just like that, Dan has caught right back up. Definitely not behind now. And Dan is actually just a tiny bit ahead. A bit of a better shroom. Matias kind of hit the wall. Dan with the 27 to Matias's 80 puts him ahead by about 0.15, somewhere in there. Going up this hill here. And looking pretty good here. Gonna hold on, but it's like just any tiny mistakes. They've been going back and forth here, so really be anyone's. Making it to the spiral area, Dan still holding on. Loses his ghost there, as does Matias. Game can't save your ghost with so many inputs that these guys are doing. With these guys going around the chomp. And with a slightly worse shroom, but still ahead. Oh, messes up his line there, makes it just outside the chomp. Dan's still just a little bit ahead. And maybe 0.1 ahead or so. But he messes up the ending. Oh no! They're so close. Oh, and Dan does get it by .09. Man, pretty close Rainbow Road there. And Dan will take that set. Dan accidentally not tanking, forcing himself into a 5th seed spot for the playoffs. And we're on to set 2. Matthias's pick. The playoffs work? The playoffs are... who knows? I think it's like the top 2 get a bye or something, and then the rest are in like a single elimination bracket of some sorts. Basically some people play, and then Matthias wins. Alright, so these guys are going with Moo Moo Farm. I believe these guys are trying to mix it up as much as they can. Gonna try to take us to all 16 tracks, so it'd be a fun time. Now the moles here are random, so they are gonna want to just completely avoid those. Don't even try to drive over them unless you make a big mistake and you need the extra time. Dan kind of wobbling around on the hills there. I'm gonna put him behind. Matthias is very, very good at the one tries here. Get some pretty insane times. So Matthias up by .21 after the first lap. Dan gonna cut through the moles, and he does it. That's gonna gain him that time right back. But the like he missed a mini turbo there, so lost a little bit, and he hits a mole. Matthias looking pretty safe now, probably. Dan gonna have to go full YOLO MOLO, as we call it. And Dan missing, definitely missing the jump there, and getting lucky and making it through. And Dan's gonna YOLO the shroom, and he does make it, but unfortunately it's not enough. Nice sub though. Dan's pick, he's going with Perhaps No End. Brings back some memories of the classic NTSC Fraps No End battle between these two guys. Both definitely very experienced with this track, though. Of course, you're going to want to not run into any snowmen, because it's a pretty huge time loss. Lose a couple seconds from that, so they get the big risky shroom here, and Matthias, a little bit too much risk. Gets stuck, and yeah, that pretty much loses the race for you when that happens, especially on lap 1. It'd be pretty hard for Dan to lose this one at this point. Of course, you could somehow hit a snowman. You would probably have to hit a few, though. Unlikely to get stuck. That's the thing with this shroom spot here. It's pretty crazy. You go flying over this hill, and then there's snowmen right on the ground right in front of you that you also have to avoid. You're just gonna go right through them. That's the nice way to do it. Of course, for Dan, he'll likely just go flying to the left of them. Just no reason to really play it risky or anything here. Very far ahead. And makes it, and goes right through. Very nice shroom. Matthias. Really, really good shroom. Why not? And Dan not falling in the bridge there. Gonna take that one. Oh, it evens up the set. Back to Matthias's pick. I really like the music remixes. They're both on the point screen. Just takes us. Like you might go to like a raceway track here. Kalmari Desert, right? Both these guys pretty solid in the one tries for Kalmari Desert. The thing is, at the very top level for this track, the first train on lap 3 will get in your way. So even if these guys make some mistakes on laps 1 and 2, it's really all about how good you can do right after passing that train on lap 3, as long as you didn't do anything really bad on laps 1 and 2. Dan making some pretty big mistakes though on the hill hops, so he'll need pretty good lap 2. They both use one shroom here, and they're going to save their 2 mushrooms for the end of lap 3 in the same spot there. Typically on like world record attempts, you'd be using 1 mushroom on each lap and driving under the train, but it's not too common in the one tries. No one's really going for the swag. Dan, pretty solid hill hops there, so these guys are very close again. Matthias a little bit ahead, but again, that train on lap 3 is probably going to even things up. Just how aggressive can you swing around it? He is just a little ahead. Hill hopping. Dan messing up the hill hops a little bit, which puts him behind more. Thing is, on NTSC, it's the driving isn't quite as pristine as their normal PAL driving, so pace is a little bit worse. Matthias definitely ahead here though. Just kind of held on to that little lead from Dan's hill hops not being quite as good. Wins by about half a second. Yeah, with good hill hops there at the start, been closer for sure. Dan's gonna take us to Wario Stadium now. Second longest track in the game. Again, this is non-shortcut. Both these guys are pretty insane at this track. Matthias messing up the start drift quite a bit there, so that's already going to put him behind. But there's a lot of track left here. The thing about this one is there's just so many kind of crazy hills and things, and you would think a lot of that is, you know, a lot of what counts here, and it definitely is in a one-try scenario. But these guys are like cutting every turn as close as they can to these walls, and it really adds up, especially if you can just continue that throughout the entire race, getting the crazy close turns right next to the walls. All those better lines add up. Dan kind of missing a drift there, but these guys are pretty much still tied. Dan maybe just slightly ahead. Let's see here. Yeah, Dan is up by about a third of a second. A lot of that being Matthias' start boost that he messed up. Both of these guys with pretty nice shrooms. Matthias was with a slightly better line and got a nice little bounce though. Both flip-flopping around here. Dan definitely still holding on to that lead. Not sure that much has changed in that lap. 54 to 70, so Dan actually gains a little bit more. So Dan's about a half second ahead. Oh, Matthias clipping the wall there. It's going to lose him quite a bit of time. It'll be very hard to catch up now. It's a pretty aggressive shroom. Yeah, Matthias going for the wall clips. Dan messing up the flip-flop mini turbo there. But still ahead. Not a whole lot that can go wrong here unless Dan runs into this wall. He doesn't, so... yeah, it looks like Dan will be taking this one. .338.83 to 337.96. Pretty clean runs, just a few mistakes from Matthias kind of set him back a little bit. Matthias's pick to Herbertland, Royal Raceway, Luigi Raceway. See. Crazy and take us alley. Bowser's Castle. Pretty fun one as well. So I would not be super surprised if this one came down to someone somehow clipping a wall or hitting a thwomp. Can definitely happen here. But both of these guys have done the one tries here quite a bit, so kind of know how to navigate these guys. Typically in time trials you'd have a ghost that kind of distracts those ones that chase you down the hallway there. In the one try league you can't use ghosts, so you sort of have to just swing out wide and hope they don't go over there. Looks like Dan missed the stairs mini turbo though, so that dropped him back a little bit. Yes, with the big bounce off the spiral, which doesn't help too much. Dan actually is a bit ahead here. Dan missing the stairs mini turbo again, but a pretty clean line around that turn. Guys are almost dead even. Oh, really, really nice spiral wall clip from Dan. That gained him quite a bit, actually. 96 to 98. Dan gains another 0.02, so Dan's just a little bit ahead. Oh, I think Dan missed that mini turbo in the hallway. These guys are pretty much tied here. Oh, Matthias bonks the wall there, and Dan hits the stairs mini turbo. Dan kind of a bad hit off the wall there in the spiral, but he's gonna take this, it looks like. 55 to 41. It is set point once again with Matthias' pick. Or Dan's pick, rather. Dan is sending us to Royal Raceway. Okay. Oh, Dan messes up the start drift there. We're already starting a little bit behind. But these guys hopping over that hill. Getting a really good jump there. Definitely saves a lot of time. Both of them got about the same jump. Dan's maybe was slightly better, but still behind from the start drift. So Dan, a quarter of a second behind, about. Or a little bit less, I guess. I missed the splits. It was either 0.15 or 0.25. Dan is trying to catch up, but goes a little too much on the mushroom there and hits the wall. It's gonna be very hard for him to catch up now. This is one where there's just not a lot of places that a ton can go wrong, unless you know, kind of hit that wall or you somehow run into the wall doing the hill hop that's coming up here. I expect Matthias to play it relatively safe. Does Dan with pretty bad hill hop there, so not really catching up. Not a whole lot he can do though. That mushroom hits about as bad as it gets here. The top guys at least. Matthias decides he wants to dive into the water here. Unlikely though. So Matthias with a pretty nice 23.05 to Dan's 73. Or 224.05. Alright, we are on the 7th track of the set. This deciding track will be Matthias's pick though. Where he takes us. I'm kind of hoping that they tie exactly and we have to go to an 8th track. Matthias, in love with Choco. Could be a good one. Again, this is non-shortcut, so no one's going to be dropping any weather tankos here. What this one a lot of the time comes down to is someone will get snagged by a wall, you know, trying to take a tight line. That happens a lot. Or these guys both are driving great. One of them might get bad hills at the very end. They both use their mushroom at the same spot. Sometimes people mix it up and use their first shroom at the end of the lap here and one tries. Dan with maybe a tiny lead here. The hills could change that for sure right now. And both with pretty bad hills. Dan's were slightly better, I guess. And Dan is about 0.3 ahead. Matthias doing the drift over, but he misses that one, going a little bit too wide. Honks the wall there. Dan extending his lead. Probably over half a second. And with good hills, and Matthias with good hills. Smooth. Dan gains 0.34 there. Matthias would need Dan to make a mistake. I don't think even bad hills for Dan will make him lose this one. He gets good hills and takes the set. So Dan is now up 2-0. going into set 3 here. The echoed music here. So they're continuing to try to pick all different tracks, even though they could by league rules. You would be allowed to pick whatever track you want now. Matthias still mixing it up, gonna go with Sherbertland. Dan with a little AB spinneroo at the start. Some true swag. Is slightly faster. You guys are about dead even. I watch these penguins squeezing by. Really close here. Matthias ahead by 0.07. Just a little bit ahead. Has a weird drift angle there. These guys know where the penguins are though. Lap 2, it's the easy one. Be safe to go through right here. Dan with a little bit tighter shroom. Very nice. These guys are still just super close. Dan with a worse crack jump there though. Dan gains 0.01. These guys are barely apart here. It's really dead even. Dan with a little bit better shroom. Matthias, I think, maybe was trying to get his mini turbo off there. Oh man, the cut. Yeah, Matthias tried with the big cut at the end. Takes it. Great race, really close. Dan gonna take us to DK. Now, of course, someone could just completely miss the ramp jump here. That happens quite a bit. Hopefully these guys don't miss. Like Dan's stream has strangely gotten lower quality. It's really just what happens on DK. Its natural form. 2 FPS. 100 bitrate. Really the true way of the DK videos. Oh, Dan Stenson! And Dan is Dan's toast. Classic mistake. Slamming into the fence. Really not a lot he can do to catch up now. As Matthias dunks it in the water. Matthias still going with the massive jump, but probably pretty aware that he's very far ahead now. Dan, a nice cave. He is not gonna fly in the water. Not the greatest jump, but good enough. And going pretty big, makes it fine. Dan getting caught up on the side there. Yes, should take this one no problem. So if these guys are trying to pick every track, not too much left. Maybe they've got Yoshi Valley on the table. Luigi Raceway. Not sure what anything. And Yoshi Valley it is. Still no shortcut picks have been done, so both these guys still have their one shortcut pick that they're allowed to do. Otherwise it's non-shortcut though. Dan with a little bit more aggressive start. Nice drop. Definitely going out to an early lead here. But that will make the path on lap 2 a little bit harder for him. Very easy to hit those spinies, as we call them, on laps 2 and 3. Lap 1 is pretty easy. And about 0.3 ahead, but here's the part where it counts. And Dan gets hit. And Matthias takes the lead, making it through. Matthias did kind of play it safe. Sort of bailed out of his mini turbo line to try to get through clean. Works out for him. And puts him pretty good amount ahead. Matthias about a second ahead here. But there's more spinies to come, and he's got to make it through. And he does, and Dan hits another. Oh, Matthias looking like he's going to take this one. Dan struggling to enter bridges lately, it seems. I think these guys are probably going to go Luigi Raceway because they're trying to play all the tracks. Yeah, we're headed. Luigi Raceway has been seeing a whole lot of action lately. All the top three, Matthias, Dan, and myself have been playing quite a bit of Luigi Raceway lately. Both these guys have a tied world record on PAL right now. So see if all the runs can transfer over to some nice NTSC driving here. Kind of a wonky start from Dan, it looked like, though. Didn't lose much. They'll go with the one shroom lap here first. Yes, definitely cleaner there. Dan kind of clipped the wall, went a little wide. Yeah, Matthias is up by 0.35. And kind of getting a little wobbly there. Dan going 1-1-1. Why not? Really. Quite a bit behind pace, even with his one mushroom left. It's very likely not going to be enough. He just hasn't really made any big mistakes or anything. And shrooming around the turn. A nice boost off the wall. Fortunately not enough. TS takes set 4-0. One try from Matthias. Sure. Alright, so it is Dan's pick. He's going with Mario Raceway. So again, these guys got to make that mushroom cut. No problems last time. Unlikely to see any. Never know. Just messing up a little bit there. These guys kind of messing up the mushroom cut, but good enough. Pretty even here. I think Dan missed mini turbo going into the lap maybe, but he is a little bit ahead, but he might have lost it from that. Nice mushroom cuts. Dan kind of with a bad line there though. No, really bad line going way outside. He's definitely ahead now. Matthias ahead by maybe a third of a second. Dan clipping the wall. Gonna be really hard to catch up now. Matthias will take this one. On 14.05 was about what he got last time? Maybe? Is Matthias's pick now. Up on the set. So good position to be in. Definitely gonna want to go with strong track for him now. is Toad's Turnpike. Back to the first track of the set. Or the match, rather. And hitting the wall a little bit there. See if anyone makes any bad mistakes here this time. Gotta avoid, you know, grinding into the fence, slamming into trucks. And with a pretty bad drift line there, kind of messed up. TS is a bit ahead maybe, but also messed up a little bit here. So these guys are actually pretty close still. Dan only 0.05 behind after lap 1. It's enough mistakes from the both of them. They both use their mushroom, make it through perfectly clean. To the left of the truck. And clipping the wall a little bit, but didn't get hurt too bad from it. Gonna fire that mushroom. T is saving his. And Dan using his other one. Dan, about the amount of time saved from one mushroom ahead. So, this is likely going to end very, very close. Dan maybe a little bit more than one mushroom ahead, but we'll see how the driving goes. TS has already caught up a little bit. And I would think this last mushroom would be enough to push Matthias ahead, it looks like. Matthias actually uses his. He makes it pretty clean. Man, this is close. Dan kind of bonking the wall. Probably put him behind a little bit, but it's so close. The perfect tie! Exact tie. Look at that. The rare tie for this league. We don't see the ties very much. That is pretty crazy. Both getting 229.35. So no one wins the track. Tying is a true classic between these two, apparently. Dan apparently got a NTSC fast lap PR as well, which is Dan's previous NTSC fast lap PR was a 49.23 at 17, which jumps him from 5th to 3rd on the NTSC Toad's Turnpike lap rank, dropping the casual NTSC 3rd place in the match. Nice. And we're going to Crap Snow Land. Dan, of course, used 3 shrooms on lap 2. I don't think anyone's breaking out any top 3 2 shroomers. On Toad's turf bike at least. No, Matthias got stuck on the mushroom last time they played this, so might be worried about that a little bit. Might try to play it a little bit safer. Ooh, he actually does the hop adjustment off the top, which worked out well for him. Clean line. Guys are still really close. Dan ahead by single frame. Really aggressive Dan there with that line, but really nice shrooms from both. Dan pulling ahead a little bit. Gains 0.21 there. He is going to need a really nice lap for Dan to make some kind of mistake here. Dan with a Dan hits the snowman though. Had a decent enough shroom. Matthias had a pretty terrible shroom actually, but didn't hit the snowman. He was home free. Take this win. That bounce got Dan. So it is back to Matthias's pick. He's up 2-0, so he might, be thinking that he doesn't want to use like best pick. But I mean, it is set 4, so the picks are gonna reset if Matthias wins this set anyway. He goes with Banshee Boardwalk, so pretty solid. They make it around this turn and both throw in this extra mini turbo there that leaves just a very tiny amount, but Dan misses the mini turbo there, doesn't get a slide, fails the drop slide as well, so Dan already pretty far behind. Dan about a half second behind. Not impossible to make up, but unlikely. Oh, Dan hits the wall, trying to get really aggressive to make up the time, but clips the wall and gonna put him further back. He's getting another 0.2 on Dan. Not a whole lot Dan can do to try to catch up here, and hope Matthias makes a mistake. Going around the final turn here, not a whole lot that can go wrong. Nice time for Matthias. Didn't get Dan's time because he leaves every race as fast as possible. $1:45.26 maybe. They're going to Kubachuru Beach. So back to Kubachuru Beach here. Really want to make it into the tunnel clean. You guys likely will. No? There you go. Dan misses. So classic commentator's curse there. And Matthias basically has a free win at this point, assuming he knows. Dan has missed the tunnel. Not a whole lot of excitement on that one because you can just play it safe. Just cruise into the tunnel, no mini turbo. Now, Dan, of course, could try to discover a new shortcut here. I'm not sure what the rules are on a shortcut being discovered mid-race, but be interesting to find out. Matthias just jumps straight through. And he's cruising. I was hoping we might see our an 8 race set here, but Matthias gonna take it. Mario Raceway. Ready? And this is our 3rd Mario Raceway. Making it through. And a little bit ahead, maybe. Okay. Dan 0.21 ahead after the first lap. Catches a little grass there though. Wide on that mushroom cut. Yes, is caught up. About dead even. Matthias actually a little bit ahead. About 0.1 ahead. It's gonna be close. Oh, but Dan missing the mini turbo going into the grass, it looked like. Still extremely close. '81 to 82. Matthias takes it by 0.01, the smallest margin possible. Matthias, gonna take us to the farm. You have joined us recently here. This is the final set, and first person to win 4 tracks in this set will be winning the match. Matthias is up on track. Matthias typically a little bit better on Moo Farm here. Dan got a mole hit last time we were here. We can avoid him this time, and he drives over one, then hits the next one. And it's YOLO time for him, looks like. Actually possible to for him to catch up if he goes through the moles on laps 2 and 3 and doesn't get hit. Maybe it's... Matthias is still kind of gaining, so... Dan almost making it, but gets hit there. Pretty much no hope at this point, fortunately. He is kind of all over the place, but I think he's fine. Where to next? Looks like it will be Wario Stadium. You're ready up. A really nice run from Dan here last time. Both off to a pretty clean start. This mushroom coming up here, though, is what might make the difference. Dan cutting it a little bit too close. Hits the wall, doesn't tumble at least, but he's definitely gonna be behind now and missing that mini turbo. This is one where you can just say, you know, I'm gonna go super aggressive here and definitely make up that time though. Not that far behind. That's likely, you know, how he'll be playing it here. You don't necessarily bank on a non-shortcut champ making a big mistake here. TS does hit the wall a little bit there. And doing his best to catch up. Can get a really nice shroom here. Dan, same thing as lap 1, but not quite as bad for him. He kind of got a decent line off of hitting the wall. Oh, and he messes up the flip-flop there. Loses quite a bit, so it's gonna be really hard to catch up now. He was definitely making up some ground, but he's really probably gonna need Matthias to make some kind of mistake at this point. And cutting it really close on that line. Dan about a second behind. Bonking the wall there. He just plays it pretty safe on the shroom. Dan with the wall clip. Very nice. He gets the second wall clip. Dan's going for the comeback here. He's still kind of behind, but he's not giving up. The double wall clip, pretty crazy here. It definitely won't be enough though. We got drop mini turbo there. Great effort though. It is potential match point here, and the pick goes to Matthias. Where does he want to try to end it? Still has his Joker up. Maybe throw in the shortcut track? Who knows? Might do it for fun because he's up 3-0 in the set. Wouldn't surprise me. But we'll see. And he's going with a Rainbow Road shortcut. What the people wanted. Alright, so likely these guys will do standard shortcut off the side, but we might see some spiral jump attempts. We'll see. Like a regular shortcut. Dan with a really nice aggressive line. Great landing. Fires the mushroom on the landing. Oh, Dan barely hits the chomp. Man. It looked like he had the line there. That chomp was still moving out, so that hurts, because yeah, Dan had a great landing and everything there. He might have to go for the spiral jump now, which Dan is definitely capable of. Yeah, Dan is certainly a bit behind here. It's about 2.5 seconds behind, maybe. Could maybe try to save the spiral for lap 3, I guess, because if he does it lap 1 or lap 2 here, then that gives Matthias the chance to go for it. So Matthias could think, oh, Dan will hit it, and then Matthias just goes for both spirals. I mean, who knows? Just makes the jump. Dan hits the chomp. Almost lands on the chomp there. He is with a pretty big lead. Matthias is about 5, maybe 5.5 seconds ahead. Spiral jump is 10 seconds faster than the regular jump. So, I mean, Dan almost definitely will go for it, knowing he's behind. Could be interesting. Basically, flip the lead in his favor. It's really what this is going to come down to, though. He is coming up. Shortcut again. Does the regular jump, and Dan could go for the spiral to try to steal the lead. He's going for it. Almost. Didn't quite swing out wide enough to get it. And that's gonna do it. Matthias is gonna take the last track here. Unless Matthias decides to pause. He'll drive this one out for the win. Great match from the both of these guys. Some crazy close races, some ties, some .01 wins. Dan closed the stream, so now we get double Matthias. They're neck and neck, guys. I don't. Matthias rolls up to the finish line here. Good match from these guys. Gotta do the classic back up over the finish line. True swag. Oh no, he's just wasting time in front of it. Works too. Congrats, Matthias. Great match from the both of these guys. I don't believe we have anything really scheduled on Speed Gaming for next week, but there might be some matches thrown in here and there, so keep an eye out. This is kind of coming up the last week of the regular season here before we jump into the playoffs. Yeah, exciting NTSC match from these guys. Definitely enjoyable. We are done for now, you guys. Hope to see you in future matches watching these. Definitely keep an eye out, and see you guys later.